All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Sun Crypto. It is August 18th, 2023, just about like 11:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll go for a quick live stream just to talk about BTC on a macro level and what type of accumulation phase we could be anticipating over the next like 3 to 5 6 months. Okay, going into going into the halving in 2024. Okay, but potentially the accumulation phase could be over before even like a 2024, because we know the second half of 20, I mean, we talked about it earlier, like back in early January, we said like the second half of 2020, second half of 2023 could be boring or bearish, or either very slow, okay, or either both of them at the same time, right? Bearish and boring, right? So we'll discuss all of that and basically analyze the market on the monthly, on a quarterly, weekly, and a 3D basis, and try to figure out what to expect before end of the year and all that good stuff. So if you're trading the 15-second charts, right, like Leroy, this video might not be for you. All right. So now let's take a look at BTC on a monthly basis first. Okay. So if we take a look at the entire chart structure, one thing we can notice, like on the monthly basis, right, one of the key indicator or one of the key moving average to always pay attention to, right, if you're trading BTC, let's say on a 6-month cycle, on a 12-month cycle, right, or like a 18 to 36 month and all that good stuff, you got to pay attention to the monthly 21 EMA. That's a yellow line right here you're seeing. Okay, since like 20, if you back test it, you can go back and back test it, right, since 2012, right, 2012, before the halving, right, we had our price action above the monthly 21 EMA. You go back in July 2016, right, BTC was above the monthly 21 EMA, because back then we had the halving in July 2016, right, price action above the monthly 21 EMA. You go back to the 2020 halving, BTC was above the monthly 21 EMA. So if you just follow this pattern, right, you could be expecting within the next like a 6 to 9 month, right, BTC to regain control of the monthly 21 EMA, right? The monthly 21 EMA is not just important because of the halving. At the same time, it is important in terms of like a capitulation. What I mean by capitulation, we talk about it right here before the capitulation down to the quarterly 21. We'll discuss the quarterly 21 if we have time, right, from like a 37k all the way down to like a 21k plus minus 10%. We talked about it back in 2022. The reason for that was like whenever we break down below the monthly 21 EMA, right, we tend to capitulate 50%, right, and all that good stuff, right? Not after an accumulation zone around it, but after the bull market peak. But that's going to be a different topic for the next, like, let's say 2 to 3 years. Okay, we don't even need to focus too much on these 50% capitulation below the monthly 21 EMA, right? We did have one right here back in 2018. That's when we capitulated from like a let's say 6k, right? But if you Leroy it, 5.89, something like that, right? Okay, all the way down to like 3k, right? And that's where we capitulated also from like 7k back in the COVID crash, all the way down to like a 4k, give or take, right? So we already got, we already figured out what's going on with the monthly 21. So you're gonna be like, hey Sen, now we below the monthly 21, are we gonna be capitulating 50% below it? Based on the market structure, based on what we've been saying, right, it is not likely, right, as of now, to see a 50% more than 50% dump below the monthly 21 EMA. Okay, so what I mean by that, okay, so we could bet the monthly 21 is somewhere around like a 28k as of now, based on the Brave new coin liquid and index. Okay, so it is at 28k. So a 50% capitulation would basically take BTC all the way down to 14k, right, give or take, right? But as of now, okay, we haven't seen BTC, okay, making new lows after the final 12-month bearish cycle, right? What I mean by that, right, you can see the first 12-month bearish cycle we had back in 20 2018, right? December 2018 down to basically December 2017 down to December 2018, 12 month, right? Right here, November 2021 to November 2022, right? 12-month Leroy, right? So in this range right here, excuse me, in this range right here, after we found the bottom, right, and push back up to our 14K, we never broke below the bottom. Okay, so just based on that structure, right, we could speculate like, hey, regardless of what Elliott wave is saying, right, because some bears, we'll talk about it later, some bears are looking for some crazy Elliott wave analysis, some like that going down to 1K and all that good stuff, right? Regardless of what the chart in terms of wave analysis is saying for the bearishness of the macro view, right, we could rely on our past history and saying like, hey, we never seen BTC retesting the previous, right, bear market support, right, bear market bottom, right? So we shouldn't be looking for, at least me, okay, shouldn't be looking for like these lows, right? Anything can happen, right? But as of now, that's not a topic, right? So what we could be looking for is like the this range. That's going to be the trading range. It doesn't mean like BTC will retest 15K, 17K. It doesn't mean, okay? But we'll just focus on the accumulation range, which is our wave 1. Okay, we discuss it in terms of Elliott wave, and we will try to basically talk about it again and all that good stuff, right? So that's excuse me guys, that's the range, right, we could be focusing on before the halving. It doesn't mean, once again, it doesn't mean BTC will drop all the way down, right, from like a 31K to 15K. It is, you know, it is probable, okay, because we're still in the early stage of the bull market, right? But we'll break it down on the 3D, on the weekly, and all that good stuff, right? But one thing we just have to notice, right, one thing we just have to make a note of, right, is like on a quarterly basis, right, the primary macro support on a quarterly basis is the quarterly 21. Yes, price action can fluctuate, you know, 10-15% below it and all that good stuff, but to see a 9 quarters, like, you know, 5 quarters below the quarterly 21, that's going to be very hard. So even if bear is going to get their 10K, right, I know they're wishing to get 10K and all that good stuff, it could be a 1 week to you know, potentially like a 3 weeks dump, right, and that is it. But I just don't see, okay, bears staying so strongly below the quarterly 21 EMA in 2024 and 2025 based on the 4-year cycle. If that happens, right, it means like we just have to throw away the 4-year cycle and probably find another cycle, okay? I don't know what type of cycle, okay, but maybe find something else, right? But as of now, the quarterly 21, it is at 23K. That's going to be a primary support before, okay, or prior to the halving. That's going to be a primary support regardless of, you know, what type of dump it gets below it. You know, just for bulls need to focus on the quarterly 21. As an investor, right, have to focus on the quarterly 21. We'll discuss the lower degree and all that good stuff, right? So now let's go ahead and take a look at BTC on let's go back. Okay, let's take a look at BTC on a weekly basis, right, before we talk about the 3D. So on the weekly basis, one thing we can speculate on, it doesn't mean it will play out, right? It doesn't mean it will play out, but it could print this wedge pattern. We talked about this wedge pattern like in one of my last public live stream. I was just speculating regarding this wedge pattern. I wasn't, you know, 100% sure, right, it will basically be like that. But as of now, we could just leave it like that, right, just to see if we could get some potential you know, pattern in this range, okay? But it could be too good to be true, okay? Because it is so easy right now to just draw this pattern like that and it play out exactly like that, right? But we will see. But on a weekly basis, based on indicators, I know you guys are going to be like, oh, we got a weekly bearish divergence. Yes, we got a weekly bearish divergence. However, price action just dumped below the weekly 21. Even though we did have the weekly divergence right here, price action was never below the weekly 21. Okay, price action was above the weekly 21 EMA. So now bears got the dirty job done, right? They dumped the price below the weekly 21. There is not enough argument right now for the bulls to be looking for, 40k, 50k. I never been, I haven't been looking for 50k anyway, right? But there is not enough argument right now with price action being below the weekly 21, right? Being below the 3D 21. The MACD on the weekly is negative. The MACD on the 3D is negative, right? So that alone is, is a good argument for the bears, right? So what could we look for in terms of like a directional trend, since like all the indicators, not all the indicators, but these two indicators, right? MACD and RSI and the divergences, right? They giving bold, less favor of a continuation to the upside. So they're giving bears, the upper hand, right? So we could look for these fibs, right? If we switch it on a 3D basis, and all that good stuff, right? We can see our MACD, first thing first, is, continuing to be negative, okay? But before we talk about the negativeness of the MACD, right? The negativity of the MACD, we could see right here when price action was a support right here myself, okay? I was anticipating, right, bulls to get support right here near the trend line support and try to retest the bottom, but that did not happen, right? And that's the same exact move, if I remember well, we had back in May 2021, right? Because when BTC was right here, I was expecting BTC to do something like that before potentially dropping, right, and all that good stuff. But it just, gave us a big swing low, right, to the downside, right? And if we take a look at the move we got right now, it is, quite similar, okay? 3D MACD negative, right? Divergence, support right here, and this move did not come, so it just whipped down. So what to look for? Right, since like bears are in control, right? Bears are in control as of now, right? At least on a shorter term time frame during the for the accumulation phase, not for the macro. Once again, Leroy, not for the macro phase. The macro phase, right? The bottom could be in already since like November 2021. So you have to understand exactly what we're talking about, okay? Even though the bears are in control, they're only in control for the swing low, right, to swing high right here, okay? That's the range they could potentially exploit over the next like a few weeks or even month going into 2024, right, by November, December 2023, right? So when we say bearish, it's not like a bearishness for a, dump down to 3K. Bearishness for the wave 2. And we discussed about the wave 2, since like when? We started to talk about the wave 2 since like May, June, okay? So it's been it's been lagging, but the wave 2 likely to come. We just don't know what type of shape it is going to be. But as of now, we could just speculate about supports on a low degree based on the fibs, right? So we'll talk about these fibs, right? So now let's take a look at the chat room first before we talk about the fibs. So we got Jude Moonboy 589 in the house. We got Quiet Cook, my cousin in the metaverse, in the house. Thanks a lot for tuning in. flushing some ADA and cooking some USDT in the kitchen, right? So if you guys have any question regarding BTC before we talk about the fibs and all that good stuff, all right. Okay, so now let's take a look at these fibs, right? So if you take a look at the fibs based on swing low to swing high, swing low just about like a 15.5, that was our November low, right? And swing high, our July high, right? So 50% to 0.618 going to be 22 to 20k area, right? And 0.786 to 888 going to be the 18.3 to 17k area. So we'll see how it goes over the next like a few weeks and all that good stuff, right? Let's go back to the weekly basis, right? So the weekly 21, since like price action basically violated the weekly 21, right? The candle hasn't closed yet, right? So we got like 24 to 48 hours to close the candle, right? So we bulls, right, what they need to do to reverse the price is like, if we get a complete reversal, let's say before end of the week price action pushes up to like a 29.5 and all that good stuff, that could be a bullish reversal, right? So we'll see, okay, how it goes over the next like a couple of days. But bulls, if they manage to push the price up, right, push the price back up to a 29.5 within the next 24 to 48 hours, which is not very likely as of now. I don't think, you know, market is confident enough, right, to push the price up within the next 24 hours above like a, you know, 29.5 and all that good stuff, right? However, you know, you just have to be prepared, okay? So the primary resistance, if we get a small pullback, going to be the 27 to a 28k area, right? You could also, you know, bears could also follow the daily 21, right? Because it is going to be moving faster than the 3D 21, because the 3D could be lagging from now on, okay? It could be lagging, you know, all the way down to the next reversal. And the MACD, it is giving us the curvature right there. So it is saying like, hey, right there, okay, that was the 2D curvature. Yeah, on the 2D, it gave us the curvature and it is still not positive, right? Even though the daily was positive at some point right here, I wasn't still not confident with the daily. That's why I was still thinking like, hey, you know, the 28, 27k going to be a support, right? But it did not hold as a support. Now bulls are losing control below the market structure right here, market structure support right there, okay? So let's go back to the weekly. So the weekly, we talk about everything in terms of like a MACD, RSI, weekly 21, and in terms of like a fibs, we took a look at it on a 3D basis. 50% to 0.618 going to be the primary support, right? You know, within the next like a 3 to 4 or 5 months, depending on the volatility. It could even come like in September, right? Who knows? But all the way up to November, and the secondary support going to be the 0.786 to 0.888, right? Which is at 18.3 to a 17k area, right? So we'll see how it goes over the next like a few weeks. If bulls wanna reverse the price, they have to take out 30k at least to get some sort of hope, right, of breaking out above 32k or even going up to 35, because they missed the chance of retesting 35, 37 right there, or even trying to go back up to the 8.618, right? But since we were expecting the second half of 2023 to be boring or bearish, right, it is going to be very difficult for the bulls to regain control, right, for the next for the final phase of the accumulation, right? So the best thing for the bull is like just to accumulate, right? Not financial advice, right? Just to accumulate, right, for the next phase. As we discussed it back in August last year. So I know time flies, right? Last year, if you guys recall, when BTC was right here around like a 25k, exactly, right? August. What we were saying, we were saying that we're going to drop down to these lows. However, it is going to be accumulation phase. Even if it drops below, you know, you shouldn't be, you know, bulls shouldn't be looking for anything below like a 17k, 18k area, right? And as you can see, it only dropped like 10% below the lows, right? Below the low right there, right? So that could potentially be a similar move, right, where we could find our support anywhere around here for the wave 2, okay, for the wave 2, right? Because in terms of wave analysis, right, we already discussed it. In terms of Elliott wave, right, we're looking for this wave 2, right, and potentially, you know, later on wave 3 and wave 5, all the way up to like 100k and so on, right? But the wave 2 is very, very tricky. You just don't know how deep it'll go, okay? It could go, 50%, 0.618 or 0.786 or like a 0.888, right? So you just have to cover the entire range. Whatever happens, right? It could just be a quick panic selling, right? From from these from the moon boys, right? And price action dumps below the quarterly 21, because the primary support will still be the quarterly 21, but we still have to cover the entire wave one, just in case. Okay, just in case the quarterly 21 doesn't temporarily hold, right? And price action decides to retest the 90% retracement, right? All right. Quiet Cook is cooking up some USDC, waiting for 22 to 23k area, which is the quarterly 21. Okay, I think like anything below the quarterly 21 could be like a very choppy, right? Yes, price could still dump below it, right? But it could be very, very choppy, where it could take like a weeks or month to break it, right? But we'll see how it goes, right? Nothing is guaranteed in this market. You just have to be patient, right? Hey, we got Pablo S Crypto in the house. We got Jude Moonboy 589. Jude, hopefully you sold your your XRP, or at least take some profit around 80 cents, 90 cents, as it basically dropped back down to the 40 to 50 range, right? But better pay attention to XRP BTC. Hey, what's up, Peter Ting in the house? Yes, it's been a while. Okay, now we already got our 20 minutes of BTC. So Jude, before we talk about Ether, let's take a look at total market cap really quickly. So total market cap, one thing we could be focusing on, regardless of the BTC price, right? You could focus on the total market cap. As you can see, the total market cap never broke below the monthly 21 EMA for some reason, even though BTC got back above the monthly 21. Now it is back to a support right here. However, if we get a continuation, right, to the downside in terms of the wave 2 correction, right, the total market cap support going to be 700 to 800 billion, right? I know some people are looking for, like, let's say 300 billion and all that good stuff. That's like the 10k area, but that's quite excessive, right? Because if you really think about it, right, our previous bull market, the 2017 bull market, right, what was the peak in terms of like a total market cap? 700 billion, right? 750. In terms of bottom support for the wave, for the entire bearish wave, was where? Around 750 billion. So it will be quite challenging for the bears to take out the 750 to 800 billion, in my opinion, right? So we'll see. This range right here will be a big accumulation range, regardless of the BTC price, okay? Because you got to think about it, right? Total market cap can retest 800 billion or even down to 750 billion without BTC retesting, right, 17k. Why is that, right? Because if we take a look at the dominance, right, if the BTC dominance going to continue to rise, right, let's say 50%, 60% and all that good stuff, right, it is likely to affect, right, the total market cap. Okay, so something we have to keep in mind within the next like a few months. Okay, so primary support 800 billion down to 700 billion. Now let's take a look at the other guy. Okay, total 2, right? Let's take a look at total 2. So total 2 right now, it is just about like 522 0.3 billion for Leroy, right? So support range for total 2, especially for alt, if you look into a accumulate, alt, right? So the total 2 support 400 billion, right, to let's say 435, anywhere around this area, plus minus 5-10%. That's a level to look for accumulation if total 2 retests these lows. Okay, so regardless of the alt, okay, top 10, top 5, whatever, okay, and all that good stuff, right? So this cover the entire altcoin markets, right? Because you can see the total 2, it's been under accumulation, right? Since when? Since like June 2022. So we haven't yet broken out below the June 2022 lows, right? Based on total 2, even though some of these alt, right, they created some patterns like that. Okay, let's say this was the June 2020 dump, okay, and then you got your November right there, and you got your another June right there, right? And some of these alt, they retrace back up. Let's do this only, right? Some of them they retrace back up, and some of them they even push even higher, okay, like Bitcoin Cash and all that good stuff, right? So, but in terms of total 2, the total 2 it's been quiet, right? So if it retests the lows right here, that's going to be a triple bottom accumulation. Can it break it and retest like 250? That's going to be a different story, all right? But as of now, bulls likely to be looking to be accumulating and trying to defend the 400 billion market cap. Okay, so total 3, I don't usually talk about total 3, but total 3 doesn't include the Ether. So total 3, it is a bit messy, right? But let's take a look at it in terms of fib, and you can see in the total 2, right, back in 2018 and 2020, it double bottom right there. Okay, was a clean double bottom. It was somewhere around like 24 billion. Gosh, that was super cheap, right? So now the total 3, it is at 382 Fibonacci. Okay, still hanging pretty tight, right? Just around the 2018 bull market peak, right? So if it breaks it right here, the only other support, it is going to be the 180, right? So we'll see if it will break it, because we're expecting total 2 to hold pretty tight, right? We're expecting total 2 to hold pretty tight. So you would be expecting like the total 3, because the total 3 doesn't include Ether, right? So you would be expecting like the total 3 to hold also pretty tight, right? But we'll see. Let's see how it goes over the next few weeks. Okay, as of now, we just about like a 320 billion, give or take, right? So next support somewhere around like a 200 billion, right? Because some of these alt, remember, they're going to continue to stay very, very weak against BTC and at the same time against Ether. If you go back and look at let's say BCH and Ether, right, Bitcoin Cash and Ether chart, you can see Bitcoin Cash is nearly like, I don't know, okay, this guy is so down, right? It's like 90, at some point it was like 99% down against Ether. Okay, and it is still down, okay, against Ether, like 98%, right? You take a look at EOS Ether, okay, EOS Ether, right there, 99% down since like May 2019. And remember what happened back in May 2019, June 2019, that's when BTC put in what, its first wave okay, of the macro bull run before retesting the 3 to 4K area, and BTC was around like a 14K in June 2019, right? But take a look at how bad EOS dumped against Ether, right? So you take a look at ADA. I think ADA held pretty well against Ether, but it is likely to you see ADA right here, September 2021, right? It is already 80% down still against Ether. So an ADA could be like 95% down against Ether within the next within the next few years after the next bull market and all that good stuff. I'm not saying it will, but most of these previous top coins, right, they tend to basically, go very, very undervalued, right, against Ether. Take a look at NEO, right, against Ether, right, 98% down against Ether. No sign of a reversal, right? So, total 2, if we go back to total 2, actually total 3, right? If, for whatever reason, the 280 billion doesn't hold, the next fib support will be at 180, okay? And that could be quite devastating for the, for the total 2, okay? But which is a 40% drop, right? It's not even that bad, right? So in crypto, 40% is not, is not that bad, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at total again. So if you take a look at total market cap, retesting 700 billion, yeah, that's about like 30%, right? So it makes perfect sense, right? Let's say if BTC drops like a 15-20%, right? Or even 30%, right? Alt could drop 40, 50, 60, 70, or even 80%. So that would basically put the total 3 down to 200 billion, right? Let's say 200 billion to 180 billion. So it makes perfect sense, but we'll see how it goes. If that's too complicated, Leroy, just focus on the total market cap, right? If you can focus on the total 3. Iceman in the house, we got the combo. Thanks a lot for tuning in, man. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Ether very quickly. So Ether, the primary support, we're going to focus on Ether for the next like a final accumulation phase, potentially, right, going to be the $1,000 plus minus 10%, right, just below the previous all-time high. And based on closing basis, right, the previous all-time high resistance, it is quite similar to BTC, right? The BTC 2013 all-time high, somewhere around like 1100, something like that, right? And Ether, based on closing basis, just about like 1100. That's where we basically found our double bottom. Could we get the triple bottom right there? Okay, could we get the triple bottom? Because that could coincide with total 2 retesting 400 billion. You see what I'm saying? So total 2 retesting 400 billion, regardless of what the rest of the alt are going to be doing, right? Total 3, right? Just have to focus on, primarily $1,000 plus minus 10%. Could it break it? Anything could happen, okay? But I was first looking for either 650, 550 range. However, because of the 4-year cycle, right, not sure if bears are going to be so strong over the next like a 3 to 4 months to drop the price all the way down to $600 to a $500 range. Okay, but if we ever see Ether around those levels, right, you just cannot be bearish, because you have to know it is a macro fib on a monthly basis, right? And at the same time, you just broke below a macro support. So the likelihood of Ether, pushing right back up to the $1,000 going to be very high. Okay, and at the same time, you could even get a trend line resistance, something like that. Okay, or even a wedge pattern potentially. Okay, just throwing ideas out there, but it is not a definitive trade setup I'm looking for, right, for the final phase. If we get it, I mean, great for all of us, right? who doesn't want to buy Ether at 650, right? But most people, if they see it at 650, they're going to be waiting for, you know, 389, okay, or like a $400, right? 389 for Leroy, right? They're going to be waiting for $400, $200, and all that good stuff, right? So just have to be very focused, right? Have to be focused over the next like a 3 to 4, 5 month, you know, going into 2024. You know, the first quarter of 2024 could be very choppy. I know we still in Q3 2023. However, last year, you know, we talk about it when we go back to BTC back in August. We talk about it. I was like, I'm bearish at 25k, and we could be looking forward to 17, 18k. However, it is not a bearishness for a dump down to a 10k, right? In the short to medium term, BTC looks bearish because we below the weekly 21. MACD is negative, 3D MACD is negative. We below the weekly, we below the 3D 21 at the same time. But it is not a bearishness to look for a zigzag formation like that, to be honest. Okay, so as of now, you know, this move potentially that's the deepest, right? Malcolm X in the house, thanks a lot for tuning in. I'm not sure if, I think it includes the the stable coins, right? But I have to check for that. But I think it does, right? All right, retest and dump. Malcolm X is calling for a retest and dump. So now we already talked about Ether for you, right? So if we want to take a look at Ether on the lower degree, so it also broke the market structure. Let's go back to Ether. Also broke the market structure. Yeah, it also broke the structure of the high lows right here. Yes, it is still making another high, but the trend right here, okay, just got broken, right? So we'll see if Ether will follow step by step these fibs, right? You got 382, somewhere around like a 1500. You got 50% pullback at just by like a 1400, right? To be exact for Leroy, 1380. And you got a 0.618 at 1240. Okay, so I don't think, like, you know, bear is going to swing straight down to $1,000 and all that good stuff. So expect some sideways correction, some double top, double bottoms, or even like some wedge patterns, stuff like that along the way in this range, all the way down to potentially November if price action is slow. Okay, if price action is, you know, moving pretty fast, you could get anything. Sucker could dump like tomorrow, okay, down to $1,000. But if you see it at those levels, right, you just know what to do with it, right? Peter, I can't tell you what to do, but as of now, the market structure is, it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for Ether for the next 3 to 5 years, I would say don't worry, right? You know, around this level, right? Not even sell, just hold, wait for the 2025 picks. But if you're looking for the next like a 3 to 4 months, I would say, okay, you got a chance of reaccumulating at, you could sell and rebuy at $1,000 plus minus, right? But if you just like holding, right, I wouldn't be like, okay, if you bought Ether anywhere around here, I wouldn't be like sell now and wait, right? But if you sold around like a 2000 or 1950 and all that good stuff, you could basically still wait for the 1100 to a 900 range to reaccumulate, right? So it all depends on your strategy. Okay, we got Tyler in the house. Moonboy, thanks a lot for tuning in. Nice Tyler, enjoy it. All right, just put a stop loss, okay? You don't want to get the buy bit later. So just have to stay focused, guys. Like I know it is nice enjoying these 5-10% moves on BTC. However, the big goal is not basically selling BTC at 30k, or even, you know, let's say buying BTC at 25k, trying to sell it at 40-50k, right? The goal for the ultimate goal, you know, is like to be waiting for like 150 to 200k, okay, within the next like 18 month, 24 month, right, give or take, till basically mid 2025, May 2025, April 2025, give or take, right? So that's going to be the ultimate goal, not be panicking between like 25k to 15k. I know it's a 10,000 point range. However, you still have to be mindful about the potential 500% move, right? Or even like a 700% move, 800% move to the upside. We discussed it last year when BTC was around 18k. I was like, the ultimate goal is like 180, because we're not going to be making 20x, 30x, 40x on BTC in the current, 4-year cycle, right? It is going to be, we have like maybe zero chance, right? Zero chance might be too harsh, but I would say like we have less than 1% chance, right, to do like a 40-50x, right, within the next like 18 months, right? So something to just keep in mind, and not try to be too bearish in this range. Just have to accumulate, just like last year. We talked about it when BTC was around 18k. Accumulate. We're going to attack the monthly 21 in Q1, Q2 2023. So that's why, you know, we were accumulating right here. Resistance. We knew that the monthly 21 going to be a resistance. We just didn't know. We just didn't know if we were going to break it or not, right? So the entire range right here, just accumulation phase. Bulls don't need to be panicking, listening to bears, calling for like a 3k, 5k, 2k, and all that good stuff, right? If it gets there, great for all of us. But the probability of seeing those low prices, right, are pretty low, right? Iceman says, I got you got that dear customer, that dear customer letter, right? First time I got that letter, I was like back in 2019. I was like, man, I'm so valuable. Bybit is sending me a message. And I read that letter. I was like, oh gosh, I didn't even need to go back to that exchange. but that was those old days, right? Alright guys, I'm just gonna keep it short. I wanted to do a 25-minute live stream, but ended up doing like a 40 to 45 minutes live stream. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, right? So if you haven't joined our public Telegram group, link in the description. The public Discord group and premium Discord group also in the description. Getting ready for the, halving. It is going to be in 6 to 9 months. So got to be patient. It's been working. The probability of it working again is pretty high. So not try to deviate from the original trend, right? Thanks a lot for watching.